As you can see here, there are two people here. The one on the left is swinging and swaying. He's standing on top of a whole bunch of things that are continuously moving. The guy on the right is also standing on a bunch of things, but he's kind of okay relatively, in terms of his stability. I just wanted to quickly get your sense of, what do you feel like? Where do you feel like the guy on the left or the guy on the right?
I think most often the one on the left. Our world is full of a lot of systems that have become very complex, but just the sheer number of them too. And Absolutely. So a little teetering, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was going to say that depends on what system we're dealing with or talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So for instance, last week, when I switched on to Zoom and my video didn't work and my microphone didn't work, I had no clue where the problem is, right? So I was like this guy then. I wasn't sure if the problem is with my system or is it with Zoom, because it has happened to me before with Zoom, when I try to access it overseas, because my Zoom account is in Australia. And when I try to access Zoom overseas, it kind of prevented me from that. So it has happened before. And I wasn't sure if, where the problem is, there could be a number of modes of failure, right? In these kind of complex interactions. We take technology for granted because it works most of the time, but things could go wrong in so many different ways, so that's an example straight away there, in terms of the complexity that we are standing on top of and number of things that could go wrong potentially. I grew up in India in a city called Chennai, but my parents were from a state called Kerala, which was kind of the other side on the west coast, of India. And my ancestors, my ancestral home used to be there, and I used to go there every vacation. So it used to be a complete sea change for me, going from the hustle and bustle of a Indian city to this remote village. And in this village, people used to, so in my household, in my grandparents' household, with my aunts and uncles and everyone living there, they used to fetch water from a well, and the well used to be within our land, but it used to be like, about 100 meters from the house. So it used to be like a daily chore that people engage in. They have an hour in the evening when they have to fetch the water. So everyone works on that. Some fetch the water for the kitchen, some fetch water for the toilets, and and other areas. So we didn't have indoor plumbing. To put it simply, we didn't even have electricity back then in that village. Right now, that's kind of where the international airport is. It's right next to it. But I'm talking about 30 years ago or something. So this is how we used to live, and Kerala used to be blessed with perennial rain, so we used to have a lot of water. We never run out of water. The well was always, either it was full all the way to the brim, or it was all the way down, as you see here. This is not the well, I'm saying our well used to look something like this. And this is how we lived, right? So this is, it was fantastic, and we didn't have any, it used to be a delight to go there, from the city, and to smell the fresh air, and to be in the natural surroundings and so forth. But today, this is how my household, get water and consume water, right? So we kind of, it's very comfortable, by adjusting it slightly. I get hot water, warm water. I can adjust the temperature as I want. It's so simple, What have we traded in this process? In this process, we've got a lot of comfort, but what this means is that, and we don't live anywhere close to any water bodies, right? And there are no wells or anything, the water comes through the Sydney water supply. And the water actually comes from water bodies that are about 100 kilometers away. And this is the system that gets us water. Okay, so look at the complexity of the system. And there are thousands of people working hard day and night, to build and maintain the system so that, I can just open the tap and I get the water, the best potable water, treated and pure and ready to drink, and, satisfying number of health parameters. So compare that to this, so it's a world of difference. But what we have done is we have traded, the height of this individual here on the left kind of in some way represents the comfort level, that we have, that we enjoy, but also represents the complexity, right? So tomorrow, if I open the tap and the water doesn't come, okay, I don't have a clue what I would do, right? I don't know, how it has failed, whether it is my plumbing, is it my tap, or is it something out there, which is causing a problem. So, touch wood, it doesn't happen very often. It hasn't happened at all so far. But there are many modes of failures, So when we say complexity, that's what we mean. So that's one concept. And at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks, Deborah, for the comment.
Not a question, just I guess a comment that the complexity increases with the amount of touch points or handoffs that your system may have. And every time that you kind of give that control to other parties, right? In this case, if your water doesn't come out, you would call the water company, right? So then there's another system that you have to interact, and then you get into like this, interaction across different types of systems, which increases the complexity as well.
Absolutely. So that's the point of, what I was trying to say, that, we have traded comfort, we're living a comfortable life, but there is a price that we're paying in terms of complexity. And because there is complexity, that's why we need tools for that complexity. But we come to that point in a second.